Hello everyone, welcome back to Inspire to Humanity. I am Marwan and we'll be discussing today the importance of mental health and crushing that stigma. What is mental health? Simply, mental health is the well-being of our social, emotional, psychological, and behavior. It is the health of our own mentality. Mental health can affect the way we think, the way we act, the way we perceive life, the way we respond to adversities, the way we understand problems, and all these different aspects can contribute into either us flourishing or deteriorating. That's why sometimes we see ourselves depressed, anxious, angry, afraid, and that's because our mental health responded in a different way. However, when we are happy, positive, grateful, and looking forward towards life, that's when our mental health is going upwards. Therefore, our responsibility today is to take care of our own mental health. Mental health affects the way we act, the way we think, the way we feel, the way we behave, the way we respond to different stressors, the way we build relationships, the way we build friendships, and the way we succeed or we fail in life. It's all built in here, and if we didn't take good care of our mental health, then we will be going downwards. Mental health is not something to be afraid of. Everyone has a dentist, has a PCP, has a different type of doctors. So why can't we give our minds its own professional who could take good care of it and teach us how to take care of it in our life? Because the ones who are responsible for our mental well-being is us and only us. Many factors in our lives could affect our mental health. Our childhood experiences, the way our parents raised us, the way we understand how life is according to how we saw and witnessed how our parents respond to it. If we were abused, if we were neglected, or if we had a prosperous childhood, this is related to the attachment to our families. Biological factors also contribute to our mental health. Are we carrying some genes that would trigger some mental health issues? We need to be aware of that. Or do we have any family history about any mental illnesses? All these things are important that we know about in order to address the issue the earliest. The earlier we address the problems, the better we can take control of it. Never be afraid to discuss mental health with your parents, with a person you trust, with a doctor. Even go and see a counselor. Today, our main struggle is the mental health stigma. It is the time to break that stigma. Don't be afraid to stand up and say, yes, I'm in need of seeing a counselor or a psychologist. This doesn't mean that you are crazy. This word should be removed. And when we say mental illnesses, sometimes it triggers that sense of embarrassment, fear, but it's just a normal illness similar to any other illnesses in life. Depression is a mental illness. Anxiety is a mental illness. Substance abuse is related to mental illnesses, and we need to address them. We can't just stay there and look at them because we're afraid to move forward. By definition, a mental illness is a medical condition that affects us. It affects the way we behave, and it's related to the functionality of our brains. It's related to our attitude, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just like any biological disease, such as a heart disease, an organ disease, that is treatable. Why is mental health stigmatized? Stigma against mental health comes from different factors. Personal factor, I tend to become shy or embarrassed of a mental condition I might have. Familial factors, how could our family accept that? Or maybe families do not want to discuss it. The third factor is social. The society by itself cannot accept the idea of mental health counseling. Or maybe the mental health issue itself could make us very shy and embarrassed to discuss it in a societal norm or in a familial norm. In addition to that, a lack of knowledge, lack of experience, even the lack of discussing mental health could contribute to stigmatizing it. There are many false beliefs against mental health, and these false beliefs are the main source of the problem. Some harmful effects of the stigma might include Reluctance to seek help or treatment, lack of understanding by the family, friends, relatives, society. And that's when they ask you, why you want to go and see a counselor? You're just fine. No, get that strength and courage to say, I am not feeling well and I'm not fine. Break that stigma, break that norm, challenge yourself to become better. Or even the false belief that what I have or what I'm experiencing is uncurable and it's because of me. That is not true. The majority of mental illnesses are curable. Stigma against mental health has devastative effects such as self-isolation, low self-esteem, shame, avoiding treatment, hopelessness. How to overcome the mental health stigma? Personal education is key to start breaking the stigma. Public education also. Start researching the benefits of mental health counseling. Start looking and researching how could I become better and benefit when I seek a counselor. To me, every person requires a counselor. You are on a beautiful journey toward healing with a professional who is fully trained to accompany you to try to explore what is the problem, what are the sources of the problem, what are the goals that we can set to work on healing and fixing that problem. And this only happens when both of us, the client and the professional, are united as one healing force who are looking forward to accomplish success, to fulfill the goal that are agreed on in order to achieve what is needed to be achieved. Some people just say that we can do it on our own. Studies and researches and our own experiences show us that this is not fully true because sometimes we are biased. Our conclusions could be affected by fear, by shame, or sometimes by something called the false memories or maybe false ideas we come up with, or even we try to suppress it as a source of solution. And that is not a real solution. We are just burying the pain that would become more inflamed and would negatively affect us more and more. What do we need to do to overcome that stigma? First of all, don't let that stigma get into your head or affect your beliefs and behavior. Most of the stigma comes from us. It's something internalized. It's that false belief or it's that false conclusion that we try to adopt and it affects the way we perceive it. Second, don't isolate yourself. When you are feeling the distress, when you are feeling the internal pain, the anxiety, the depression, the sadness, the anger, reach out. Start with the closest person to you, a friend, a family member, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, anyone. Please don't be shy to reach out and ask for help because every human being is experiencing a certain mental and emotional distress, and we cannot allow it to affect our day or our prosperity in life or our success. Third, don't ever equate yourself to your illness. We are not the illness. We are not the problem. We have a problem. Let us learn how to talk to ourselves. If I am experiencing depression, let me say it. I am experiencing depression. I am not depressed, but it is an experience which gives me the power to control it, to fix it and get rid of it. Join a support group. Joining a support group that has similar problems that we are experiencing would help us to share our problems with them, understand how they are coping with them, understand what goals could be achieved, and even push us forward to seek professional counseling without being shy, because we are seeing other people who are having similar experiences are going into that same path and are getting either healed or are being able to cope with their problems. Lastly, speak against that stigma. Never be afraid to defend your mental health. Take care of your mental health and stand up and say, it is okay. It is fully and totally fine to address our mental problems, our emotional problems, and our behavioral problems. Expressing our emotions or the way we feel requires courage. Get in touch with your own emotions. Acknowledge your emotions the way you feel. Name them. Never be afraid to get in contact with yourself. That is self-knowledge. That is self-love. That is self-compassion that every one of us requires it. In today's life, in today's individuality, in today's social isolation that we are facing, unfortunately, We need to start to connect with ourselves more. People are afraid to be in contact with themselves, to acknowledge what they are feeling, to acknowledge their emotions, to name them. Because the moment they name them, they believe that the emotion took power over them, and that's not true. The moment that you stand up and say, I am feeling this way because of that reason, is the moment when you conquer your emotions. It's the moment when you conquer that problem and start moving forward towards solving it. My advice and my personal request to everyone: reach out to yourself, reach out to your friends, reach out to anyone who is emotionally, mentally, and behaviorally in need. We do need each other. Let's give each other compassion, love, validation, acknowledgement, that beautiful support that we are intended to give. We cannot live isolated. We cannot live in selfishness, and we cannot live in full negligence. We need to accept our problems, accept our emotions, and move forward towards the healing process. And that healing process requires taking full care of our mental health, acknowledging the importance of mental health and advocating for the importance of mental health and promoting it. Start spreading the good news about the importance of mental health to your friends, families, society, to your church, to your group, to your peers, anyone. And even if you see any person who is in need for a hug, for a kiss, for just beautiful words, please take the initiatives towards that. This is the end of the episode. It is the time for the exercise. Sit with yourself for 5 minutes and try to contemplate on what is putting you in distress and give it a name. For example, if I am experiencing depression, I will be calling my depression Marwan. Give it a human name. And then open a conversation with Marwan or with that problem you are facing, and try to understand from where did it come, how it's affecting you, and how you can heal it. This is called an externalization process. It's when we externalize our problems, we give it a certain figure, a certain identity, and we confront it. This exercise is to confront our own problems. Thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, follow me on social media, and let us inspirit humanity.